Now, this left hand side of the heart is concerned with your mother and with Shiva, the existence. You get your existence through your mother. And Shiva and Parvati, they are your parents. Both of them are your parents as far as your existence is concerned. And it is such a beautiful center, is your heart center. You want somebody to do something for your choice. You want that somebody should yield, or something you find somebody very obstinate. I have told you that you can beat them with shoes, do all those things, but there's a very simple way if you know how to do it. You see, you just think of their hridaya, their heart, and put a bandhan to that. And you can do it so beautifully. You can melt a person without any difficulties if you know how to handle their heart. You have to appeal to their heart. And that's the best attraction, I tell you. And the best secret method by which you can bring good in them. When you are talking to somebody, supposing I now, intellectually if I start quarreling with you, you'll give me up in no time. But I have to use your heart power, and I have to enter into your heart, and that is how it works. So always when you want to do something like that, just humble down yourself in your heart. That is first. First of all, you must humble down yourself in your heart. And from there, to work on the heart of others, just put a bandhan, and you will see a person will melt away. We melt our intelligence, our ego, everything, even your superego in your heart. So it's a very easy thing if you know how to approach people through their heart. And that is only possible if you are genuine. Because genuineness is something that a heart recognizes. You can befool a person with your cunning methods, but the heart will recognize it later on. And the person will hate you. Even if you talk to someone, oh, very much, very good, thank you very much, very nice. And the heart knows, oh, he's trying to befool me and he's very cunning. The heart is going to hate such a person. And heart has the art to see and feel the person. So if you could appeal to somebody's heart and put a bandhan on the heart, you can melt that person. And if you love someone and if you want that person should be corrected, supposing such a person is a drunkard or a person who beats you and is torturing you because he's under the spell of some drugs or some sort of a foreign thing, then you just put bandhan to his heart and you'll see they'll be changing. They'll be changing very fast. And that's why you say change of heart. Everywhere you find, in every scripture, it is written, change of heart is needed, not the change of clothes. So it's not intellectual change, but a rational changing, but it is the change of heart. And that is brought about by moving the heart chakra on the right hand side in the clockwise manner. That is the heart itself in the clockwise manner. If you can do that, you can really do marvels. And that's how, on a collective basis, the heart is sort of the innermost string of the collective one string that is passing through all of us. So if you could strike at the innermost, because in a 3.5 circle, that's the innermost point. If you touch there, it passes over this. Supposing you touch somewhere else, then it might break. But at the beginning, if you start striking it, it goes very nicely and passes into complete circumference. Now the center one I have told you is the heart plexus, which we call as cardiac plexus, and it has got 10 subplexuses. And the English names for that, I'm going to give you the complete list. I don't know when we'll have time to go through the medical journal, but I'll find out all of them and I'm going to tell you what they call it in the medical terminology. But they know that there are 10 subplexuses which are supplying to the muscles of the heart to the lungs and to the right side lungs, and that's how they divide it. But they do not know that it is already 3 parts, and then there are 10 petals which are working it out. 12 petals that are working it out. So 3 divided into 12 is 4 each side. But actually it is not so. It is the 10 petals are together in the center. And the center one is known as the Sacred Heart. In the Bible it is called as Sacred Heart. And the sacredness of that heart in the abstract form is the motherly love of God. That's why the Jagadamba, the mother of the universe, resides there. And those 12 petals act according to the mother of the heart. And that's why we cannot allot them to this side or that side, because it is she who actually makes them pulsate. So here she becomes a dominant person and not the heart. They are the spirit rules. So spirit has rules by itself, and it is ruled with the help of the reflection of God Almighty Himself. It is on its own. It is arbitrary. It sees, it watches, it is the witness. It watches the play of these 12 petals here. But if it finds that there is too much of strain on the centered one, it just switches off. And when it's switched off, the whole thing. You see, so you must understand the difference between the other chakras and this one is that there is a spirit, and on the other side is a human perfect personality. 3 things altogether. Now, if you reduce them to our 3 powers, you will understand it. On one side is the instrument, or you can say the nucleus for the left-hand side working. In the center, it is, or you can say left-hand side working, you can say the Mahakali is working. In the center, you can say it is for the Mahalakshmi working, and the nucleus for the working of the right-hand side is in the heart. On the right-hand side, where Rama resides, because we can call it a nucleus. He was active. He was active without feeling. Without feeling, they witnessed it. Now they combine here, where Krishna came and he felt the witness state. And he called it as Leela, is the whole play. Rama never called it as play. But he called it as play. So that's why Krishna here is completed. And that's why we call him a Sampurna. He's a complete incarnation at him. You know that Christ was here, and I've told you about Christ in that book. I've read it out to you, Devi Mahatmya, what they have described about him, how he was created, and how he was brought here. He was Mahavishnu, and how he was put there. But that is not just now we are discussing. We are just now discussing about these 3 parts of the heart. Now, what is the connection of these 3 parts? Why should they be placed at that time? Because at this juncture, we have 3 nucleus working together on 3 different channels, and they are to be connected somehow. They are to be connected. Otherwise, you see, in a human being, there is not so much of connection established because there is no Kundalini awakening. There is parasympathetic is halfway hanging, dangling. And how are they to connect? Between the heart, which is existence, between the heart, which is evolution, which is the heart, which is activity. So, at this juncture, it is kept connected. The heart stops. Everything stops. Simultaneously. But when you are on this, then your horoscopes work out. Horoscope can work out only up to this point. Because if you predict a person is going to die according to a horoscope, now say they say he is going to die, say tomorrow. But he gets his realization today. He is not going to die tomorrow. He'll die much later. Or he'll die whenever he feels like, possibly. It has happened. Because he goes beyond this limit where these three things are connected. So, you see, they say that you have got limited number of heartbeats. You have got number of breathing. But the breathing becomes so slow after realization. The rate of breathing is so slow that as it is, your life is much elongated. And the connection becomes very much different. Because the heart stops, wants to stop it, it cannot stop because other activities are still. So, first of all, when a realized soul dies, the Kundalini has to pass out from here, and then the heart stops. It's a different phenomena, and that's why when a realized soul dies, they find that the prana, the life has not passed through the mouth or from the nose, but it passes through here, and you find a clot of blood over here. That is the sign that a person was realized of a very high degree. But those who die, even before such an achievement, they do not die with their eyes open, neither with nose bleeding or with their mouth open. There's no bleeding at all from the nose or from the mouth. No bleeding at all. And bleeding take place. Otherwise, in every other, there is a bleeding. Eyes, in some people, may be open, but if they are fully realized, they'll be closed. So this is the case. But this level, it works out because here you are still at a level where you have not reached the witness state. And that is the reason your horoscopes are working out, your all material things are working out at this level. And that's how you become miraculously different. I'll give another example of that, how you become miraculously different. For example, a realized soul is traveling by a train. We have got in this example, a concrete example in India. There was a realized traveling by a train. And the train collided. And not a single person was killed in that train. And it has taken so many somersaults, and nobody could explain. There was one car accident where one realized soul was going by that car. It was a very big car, and many boys were there. And he somehow was caught up with them. And they were all drunk, and they were singing, and he didn't know what to do. But he was there somehow or other. And not a single person died in that mishap, which people were surprised how it has happened. Even if a realized person is walking, and if there is an accident that is going to come up, you'll find suddenly, something will happen that the accident will be averted. If you could put a button at that time, you can immediately avert the accident. So, you see, such a person who is realized, who has gone beyond this state and has become a witness state, such a person not only saves himself but saves others. So all your horoscopes and all these things go into different categories for a realized soul, because the whole thing changes. Whole thing changes, absolutely changes, and he becomes a different person. His hand changes, his lines changes, and people start saying, oh, you must have been this and you must have been that. And then you see those people who are not realized, if they see your hand, they might depict that there's a spiritual change that has come into, but still they stick on to certain things and they say some things, you see, that they cannot see. But if it is a realized soul, he can tell you immediately that at what age you will get your full realization, what will happen, all sorts of things, if he is a fully realized person. But actually people after realization have no interest left in all these things. So seldom I've not known anybody who is a realized soul and still busy telling hands and things like that. But he has no interest left. But now this coming back to the heart again, on the right hand side we have got Rama's place. Now Rama was known for his obedience to his father. If you know his story. His father was in Ayodhya, he was ruling there, and he had 3 wives. The third wife had no, she had 2 sons, but she could not see Rama getting the throne. She was a very nice mother, but somebody, some lady went and told something to her, and she listened to her, and she told her husband that if you want to give me my boon, the promised boon, you have to make Rama go into the jungle for 14 years and give the throne to my son Bharat. And when Dashrath heard this, he fainted. He fainted with this request, but Rama was there. He heard it, and he immediately told her that I'm going to the forest and I've accepted it, and you appoint your son as the Bharat. For me, it's all right. And that's how he went, you see. Just to obey the order of his father, because father had not even ordered, but because he was compelled, he had given his wife 2 boons. That once, you see, in a war, she saved his life, so he said that whenever you want, you can ask for these 2 boons. And she never knew that she would use them in such a funny way. Later on she repented, because Bharata came and he refused to accept the throne, and he put only Rama's slippers there and ruled there, and everything was different. But Dasharatha died because when Rama went away, he just died. So, you see, Rama's life shows how he was obedient to his parents. He suffered so much. Anyone who has not been respectful to his parents. You see, if your parents have been